Another exciting episode of Horror with Sir Sturdy, episode
Warn me.
460, by the way. 460, yes. And tonight is we're discussing this right here, the mean one. Christmas must be something more. If you don't know where that's from, it's from Taylor Swift. How do I know this? Because this gentleman over here, and his wife, and his lovely wife. Actually, I'm gonna give her more credit because I'll just say this: if I was afraid of either one of them, it'd be her. And that's fair.
It'd be her. Yeah, I don't blame you on that one.
And I feel like if it's coming on this way, he'd probably be more afraid of my wife than he would be of me. And that's fair. That's perfectly fair.
I get away with everybody, but I will never offend. I don't offend people like that unless I hate you. You'll know.
You hear that, Nicolas Cage?
No, I love Nicolas Cage. I'll never offend. He's the best.
Well, I'm talking to him.
You're in the minority.
Now. I am a minority. I am. And I'm in the minority with this one as well because quite a few people that I know really love him. Quite a few people that I respect their opinions and all this other shit, like my cousin, my wife, you, Chris, a bunch of other fucking people. It's okay though. We're allowed to be different people. We're allowed to have different opinions. That's what makes us unique.
I agree. I'm all for it. You can be a Republican if you want to be a Republican. You can be a Democrat if you want to be a Democrat. But I will always remain a registered absurdist.
And I'm registered sturdy. Can't help it. But that's not why we're here tonight, though, people. We're here to talk about this movie, The Mean One. And before we even dive into the early ratings and before we even get into this, I want to ask you a question, man.
Yeah.
So with all these Christmas movies and Christmas fairy tales we grew up with, what is another Christmas horror you would like to see? And you can use ones like if you want to use Frosty the Snowman and all that type of stuff. If you want to use
I feel like we kind of got that with Jack Frost, though.
True.
Essentially, like it wasn't exactly Frosty, but even if you made a movie about a killer Frosty at this point,
it'd be too similar. That's fair.
But that's a great question. Because it gets me thinking about like what's been made. I know we talked about Rudolph before, which could be cool, but if you really want to have a sustainable movie,
you probably need more than just a deer.
You know what it is? It's yeah, I think you would need you would have to incorporate everything into that, like the whole village, all nine. So then is it a Rudolph movie at that point?
I mean, if you make it to where let's just go back to the which I gotta fucking find and see if I have these movies, because if not, I'm gonna grab the Blu-rays because I love them. But anyways, the cartoon or weird clay anime, whatever the fuck it was that we watched as kids. I haven't seen it in years, but I miss it. And it was the what were we talking about? The Rudolph thing. Remember how they were teasing him at first? Yeah. So right then and there is when he goes dark. He goes in the woods by himself, and he just somehow becomes a killer. And he just maybe every Christmas he comes back and takes out one of the deer. Or just takes out something, does something. Maybe, I don't know. Just spitballing here. Yeah, but if we're to go that route. And the reason why I'm asking this is because of this movie. Is because remember how through this they would how they talk in with the Grinch, with the Dr. Seuss movies, how they talk kind of like that over the movie or whatever, the narration. They were doing that with this, but of course, with a horror twist. So I'm thinking if they do it with those, but with the horror twist of almost sometimes instead of the narration all the time, maybe here and there twisting the songs, like the Frosty the Snowman song. Maybe it's more about him being a killer snowman in a sense. And then when you hear that, he's around or he's coming or something, or when they're singing it, he's around or he's coming or something.
Ooh. I got my creative juices thinking. It might be cool is like a dark version of Elf.
Ooh.
He finds out that he was adopted. Santa took him in, but it wasn't an easy life. You know, like it wasn't a hard like he wasn't treated, he wasn't tortured or anything, but like you're in the North Pole, you know, it's probably not going to be truly easy, you know, and but like he was taken in, he has a family element to it or whatever.
Mhm.
And then he finds out he was adopted and who his family was. He maybe always had bloodlust urges or something, kind of like what Brightburn was for Superman.
Ooh.
But like do it with Buddy the Elf, sort of. Like, what if Buddy the Elf was homicidal and he wanted to go search out his family for abandoning him? So he
Ooh.
kills Santa and then he goes hunting his family. And he has the powers of an elf, but he's like a psychotic human. So maybe a couple elves have to chase him down.
There we go.
Could be interesting. That'd be kind of a cool take on it. That's not the fairy tale side of it, but from the Christmas perspective, fairy tale side, you know, I think about a lot about, you know, with Christmas and stuff. There's not much more I need. I was like, a Christmas Carol handles a perfect amount of ghost story or horror for.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know, and I always think that's the thing. Like Christmas to me and horror are very similar. Because think about it, and to kind of go back and let's not go religious, but let's talk about it from the religious standpoint, Christian standpoint. They were running because the king was killing all firstborn male children. That in itself is a horrifying thing. Like these people are desperately escaping, and then they have to stay in a cave so she can give birth to this baby that like maybe some supernatural force. How does she feel about this all throughout, you know, and how does Joseph feel? But but to take that element and say like it is a supernatural tale with angels and there's clear villains, and that's where Christmas is birthed. So everything outside of it, I mean, even the concept of Santa Claus is horrifying if you think about it from the perspective of it's a guy who comes into your home while you're sleeping. He knows you're sleeping and he judges you.
He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So good for goodness sake.
Yeah.
He knows what that means.
What would you could easily take that. Now take the concepts of Santa Claus out of it. Say we don't know Santa Claus exists, right? So now we don't know Santa Claus exists. It's never been a thing. Now, if you hear that, you hear somebody say, he knows when you were sleeping. He knows when you were awake. He knows when you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake, or he'll drive an axe through your brain. You know, like one little extra sentence. We don't know Santa Claus exists. And now that's the most terrifying thing you could ever heard.
Yeah. I mean, hey, and I'm here for it. Let's do it. Let's do a movie just like that.
Like it's such an interesting. Christmas is such an interesting world because not only is it pleasant and sweet and loving and you know all of those things, but the horror fans definitely have an element of it.
Oh, definitely. What's good, Chad? How's it going, man?
Oh, hot Chad, what's up, man?
Definitely. I mean, it's, but that's what I love. I mean, I feel like it's almost the easiest holiday to make horror for.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's good, Chris? Even easier than Halloween. And the reason why I say that is because with Halloween, you have more pressure. You have way more pressure, I feel, to make a horror movie, you know, that comes out that's either, Halloween horror movie versus a Christmas horror.
This dude is cocked, locked, and ready and ready to rock for Christmas.
How's it going?
What's up? Dude.
What's happening?
What are you doing? Is this your Christmas vacation world? You're out of the studio?
Kind of, sort of, I guess.
Where's the hot cocoa?
No hot cocoa. No hot cocoa. I had 2 cups of coffee today.
Oh shit! Jitters.
Santa Stein, interesting.
Yeah, Santa? It's over on. I've been meaning to check that out. It's over on Screenbox.
Oh, is that next week's movie?
No, no, I don't have one picked for next. I gotta pick something for next week. I'll have that out for you guys by maybe tomorrow's after tomorrow night's episode, midnight's episode.
There you go. Next week. Did you guys already give your initial ratings on this?
No, we actually asked which now that you're here. if you were to make a Christmas horror movie using some of the ones that we grew up from, like Frosty, what was it, Santa? Remember the ones that came out, the animated ones, Rudolph, Frosty, Santa, all of them. Like, what one would you make into a horror movie, and how would you do it?
I would say all of those little animated ones. I mean, there's so much room to have fun with it. Like, it could almost be like, remember how Celebrity Deathmatch was all gory and shit? Like, those are the ones that honestly, like, Mick had been like, "Hey, make a little short." Those are the ones I was gonna talk about, honestly, because that's kind of my tradition. It's like whenever it's Christmas, if those are on the TV, that's what's playing throughout the day. Whether we're just opening our presents and the fucking Macy's, like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's like that's what's on the TV at that time. On Thanksgiving Day or and then for Christmas, it's like, all right, these animated cartoons from back in the day with the stop motion, if they're on, I don't give a fuck. It's on the TV. It's what's playing in the background, and it's the thing that keeps taking me away was having fun for or doing in that immediate moment because it's just ingrained in my brain. Like you can hear those certain sounds or voices of those characters, or the mystical sounds of the background curation for the music they use, or the wind blows and you hear the chimes going for like, and that just makes you look up. And for us, that's our childhood Christmas.
I can't wait to watch those again because I just feel like those are ones that I feel. I know I haven't seen them in years, but every time I did have them on, or similar to what they're saying, they're playing in the background, I feel like I have to sit down and watch them. I'm like, fuck this shit. I haven't seen this shit in so long. I'm just gonna sit down and watch. And if there's food going, usually it's around the holidays anyway, so there's some sort of food going. Make myself a light little plate, chilled, and just knock it out.
Bro, I would almost not interrupt those, even if like we had just got a dope ass gift and it was, let's say it was like the newest Sega game or Nintendo game or whatever. Like, I don't care if those things are on. I'm not turning on my console. I'm not changing the TV. Like those are on, they're on.
I think
there's no ifs, ands, or buts for that for me.
What it is with that though, and it sucks that I got out of that tradition myself, but is like when when your parents or whoever you live with at the time, when you're opening presents, maybe after breakfast or whatever, that's exactly what's playing throughout the day, like you were saying. So you're just kind of used to watching it and watching every single one, especially at least your favorite one. At the very least, you gotta watch my favorite one or two, and then I'm good. But if they're all playing, usually you let your favorites play last. So it's like I'll go through them all. You let your favorites play last, and then boom, and then you're like, okay, now I can go to the toys and the games and the other shit because this is done.
Oh, I just fear now that my initial thought of them turning these things into horror movies just turns into pretty much this movie. That's my only fear.
And that's a weird fear because that's an excitement of mine. Which, before we dive into that any further, I think it's time to get into these early ratings. Starting with you, Sturdy. Starting with you. Early rating, no reason. 6. Starting with a 6.
I would do. Yeah, that seems right. I'd give it a 6.
I was torn between 4 and 5 on this one. I'm gonna go middle of the road because I'm feeling festive. I'm gonna go 5.
All right, gentlemen.
All right.
What's your beef with this movie, Chris?
It was a piece of shit. It was like they tried to have fun with the notion of the Grinch being scary, but then he just looked like every other Grinch. It honestly looked like they just took like Jim Carrey's Grinch and just made him mean, kind of. But then like there's barely any. I don't know. There wasn't really much of a fear factor for me or a scare factor in this one for me. It was more of I was waiting for some stupid shit to happen, waiting for some weird ass like remnants of Christmas to occur on the screen to wait for a kill. And when the kills did arise, it was like, okay, I guess.
I had a different feeling about. I actually really had a lot of fun with this. I took the campy into effect. I didn't mind. I liked how the Grinch or the mean one, whatever they call him in the movie, how he acts in it. Like his movements were very calculated. They're very similar to a lot of famous scenes from both the live action movie and the cartoon. So I dug that, but also adding a much more frightening element to it, a very in your face style, which I thought added for me the fact that he did look so much like the Grinch as we know it, especially Jim Carrey's. I actually kind of like that. I kind of like that he did look so similar, and that it was just I don't know how to explain it, but like it was still scary, you know, because you're not scared of Jim Carrey's. I guess you go into it, but he is supposed to be technically a scary being. So I do like how this was played, this a little bit different. I really enjoyed that element of it, and the fun that it was brought to it. We were talking about it earlier when we were watching it, that this is the type of slasher film I like, where it's fun. You know, it's a good balance of like, the story's not amazing or anything. It's pretty, but like it's good, and I'm enjoying this. Like I like the campy side of it, and that it can be silly at times, but also, you know, like it's pretty vicious murders and such. So yeah, I just kind of like the balance of everything. I thought it played well.
No, I'm with you on that, Mick. I had fun with this movie. I really enjoyed it. I had fun with the kills. Yes, it could have been. I mean, you could have taken some of the silliness out of it, and it could have been darker and all that stuff. But I mean, at the same time, it did work for. I mean, it is a horror comedy for one, so there's that. But it worked for what it is. It worked for what it is, in my opinion. And I liked how. I just like what they did with the Grinch. Honestly, it's something I wanted from the Grinch, and I want to see more. I feel like if they make sequels, maybe one or two more. I'll say two more. Let's do two more. Maybe get a little darker, a little deeper.
Yeah, if they get a little darker and deeper, make it less of that kitty vibe with them trying to make it horrific, then I feel like I would have liked it and connected with it more, because I was going into it expecting more of a visceral and just dark, very just kind of evil Grinch. And then for the twist that they did at the end, and it just, there's a lot of these little things that they did to the story that perhaps you guys are like, well, like it worked and I kind of liked what they did because it's unique and it's something new. But at the same time, those are the same things that to me made this feel like they were just trying, and it just didn't resonate. It was too kiddie, too trying to appeal, I guess, to more of a kid who's now trying to get a different perspective of what the Grinch could be, or that the other aspect of what that story could be. And I thought it, leading up to it at the beginning, especially them literally with the narrator basically being like, "Oh, you think this is a story, but let's see let's see what really happened," or you know what I mean? I was like, "Okay, cool. We're going to get a complete flip." So if I would have got a more dark feeling, almost Art the Clown or fucking Winnie the Pooh type fucking killer from this, then I think I would have been like, yeah, good movie. But this is barely fair for me.
All right, I mean that's fair. I definitely get where you're at with the end of it, on that side of it. Like I could see where it goes that way. I guess for me, like it was just more like I didn't need anything more than what it was. And like I was comparing this a lot to Terrifier earlier, in the sense of like how, you know, just sort of how the Grinch is and how he's perceived throughout. I did not know that David Thornton had done this too. So like so I'm glad it did remind me of that, because it is him, but it's almost like a anti-Terrifier movie in a way, because Terrifier is silly, but the silliness comes from the fact that you're terrified of this guy. Like he's a terrifying entity. You see him and he's scary right from the beginning. But he's being silly, so it adds to it. Whereas with the Grinch, it is silly, and he is the more serious of it throughout it. You know, even that he's fucking around, you know, that's sort of the Grinch's like foray, how he does things. You know, he's the scary part, where it's like her montage and like the you know, the old man and stuff. That was more, and the cop and stuff, like that was more of the silliness to it for me. but I thought that really balanced out well. Like it was just a different version of what Terrifier is, and I like that. So that's why I went more with a 6, because like this stands on the side. I don't like slasher films that like they have to have that balance of story and horror. And if it shifted one way, like Rob Zombie does that a lot. He shifts one way for me, where it's more or less focused on the horror than the story, and I think that suffers. And same with Ari Aster when I watch his movies. And 9 times out of 10, like you get that good balance generally when it's just a really good horror filmmaker, like Eli Roth. I said that about Thanksgiving earlier. I was like, that is a really good holiday slasher film, and it's just a really good slasher film because it balances it well. I think this one, it was still skewed a bit. It wasn't like Thanksgiving in that sense, but like I think the balance was a lot closer for me with this anyway.
Oh yeah, this wasn't. I see what you're saying with the whole like with the whole Thanksgiving thing. It was very similar to that, but it's not as good as that. But again, I want to see more of this. I really do. And like I said, maybe going down because you could also look at this if you want to tie it to Terrifier again. Is the whole, remember how it was Terrifier? The first Terrifier was basically just like a gore fest. It wasn't really a story or anything to it. And then the second one, there was still a gore fest, yes, but there was more of a story to it, and there was more to it than just art cutting people up. So maybe if they did a sequel with this, maybe we'll get the same thing with that, so you can get more of kind of the story of it, or more of a story, a sinister story of it. Like I don't know the whole Grinch thing. I mean, to say the way it ended, how they basically, the voice, the laughter at the end, or is it over? Whatever the fuck they said, I forgot.
Yeah.
But
it's not. He'll be back, but still,
I do like how it ended. Like it did. I think Sturdy, if I'm correct, you kind of had the same, and I'd like to hear Chris how you reacted to it. Was like how it ended between her and him. At first, when I first watched, I'm like, I don't know how I felt about that. But then when like the realizing that that's exactly what the original story was, like I was like, yeah, I dug it. I was like, that's fine. That was
okay,
good.
yeah.
No,
And I'll throw in the way it ended too, just because it was like, it just, I mean, with his heart exploding, you know what I mean? Instead of his heart growing and he just becomes nice, his heart exploding, his heart gets bigger, he dies, whatever, or dies. I liked how that ended. I wasn't gonna be happy with it if they were all buddy kind of friendly. That's what I thought I was going for. I was like, come on, please don't do this.
Yeah.
But
all right. This whole third act is really the biggest part of the shit that bothered me, honestly. I feel like they rushed a lot of it. They made a lot of it feel very just hurry up and get to the climax, and it was just too I don't know, too silly, I guess, for me, because I don't mind the heart exploding thing. Heart grows to 3 size, like you guys said, but I didn't mind that shit. Okay, interesting. His heart started growing, and literally it killed him. She killed him with kindness. That's pretty much that shit here. But I don't know. It kind of to me would have been a little bit funnier, or a little bit more in tune with the rest of the tone of the movie had they had made him and her a little more friendly, and like every time he's about to do something like horrific or killer like, she's like, hey, and like catches him and stops him, and it's like that buddy back and forth accountability, like, oh, you stop it. I got you. You know what I mean? Type deal. He doesn't actually kill the person. Um, but honestly, the whole end of this movie with how quickly the pace got, and how, to me, that's the part that completely made me disregard. Just because up on some rooms still, it can end strong, and then for me, it was just like, nope. It completely detached with all of the silliness all the way up to the end.
I mean, we all have our opinions.
Again, 4 or 5. It's fair. They had a lot of opportunities, a lot of things I would have done differently, or that I feel like they could have done differently to make this better. So that's why it's like I'm impartial, really, whether or bad, because I can see people like you guys enjoying it the way you did with the certain points you're making, but at the same time, for me, not what I wanted, not what I expected. What didn't leave me at the end of it, leaving changed in my mind after it started rolling. So yeah, I'm just indifferent on it.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right, that's
It's
fair.
honestly, I'll even say this is something I can see myself watching once a year.
Nah.
I can
If
definitely see
someone
myself.
ever mentions it to me, I might be like, "Oh yeah, I saw it." But other than that, I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, you gotta go see the mean one or whatever." You know what I mean? For Christmas, if you're into horror. Again, for me, Christmas and horror are two things that are so opposite and like they're so fucking like
You
contradictory
got
from
to tell them.
themselves. I will never tell people go watch horror movies during Christmas or be like, "Oh, you really got to see these horror movies." It doesn't compute in my brain. So
Were you sitting in the green room before the show started?
no.
He really came in.
Oh my god, we were having this exact conversation. Exactly what you're saying. I said the exact same thing opposite.
He did.
And I spelled it out for I went in depth with it. Saying like, to me, I think Christmas and horror go hand in hand. It starts from, and I even went through the nativity. Like, how does the nativity start? The king is killing all firstborn males. So like he's hunting these children down. They have to flee. And then she has to give birth in a cave. It's a supernatural that she's told it's God's child. Like, it's horrifying. There's so
I
many
mean,
horrifying elements to it. But then
yeah,
you
if you
skip
look at
forward and
things
you think
like
like
that,
A Christmas Carol, one of the greatest ghost stories of all time, and it is
yeah,
a horrifying tale, not just of time travel, but a man having come face to face with his life and the things that he's done, and like
yeah.
all of these elements that make great horror today. Now, I'm in no way saying the mean one should go up with those stories. What I am saying, though, the classic twist of the Grinch, which is already a horrifying tale. There is a monster living in the mountains, preying on these people, robbing them. And yeah, it's just if you take that element and all you say in the cartoon is he's murdering them at night, he's a serial killer, and
Yeah.
you have this movie. It's so, I mean, and I like the twist of it. He just hates Christmas. Why does he hate Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck if I know. I guess he was in love with that woman. Like whatever. But I took it as that, and then she accidentally died when he was fighting her, and he just turned into the mean one. So like I took it as Santa turned into the mean one or whatever. But it was, but like to your point where you're saying Christmas and horror are separate, I would urge you to go back and look at almost every Christmas movie you hold dear and tell me there isn't some kind of supernatural element in it at some point. And then think
No, I
about
get
that.
it.
That's just, even if it's a horror comedy, it still fits into the horror mold.
We've just been so indoctrinated with the idea of those spiritual things being on the joyous and the pleasant and peaceful side that for me it's just so ingrained that I just
Oh
can't
yeah.
go, you know what? Yeah, let's make a horror movie about the actual rebirth or about the shepherds or about the three kings, or like to me it just doesn't compute, even though now I'm like, okay, I can see where people can write some scripts and come up with some twisted shit about all of it. It just to me will never be the thing that I'm always thinking about. That's like, you guys gotta
Oh,
check out this whole different perspective on Christmas. Until we talk the real shit and the real stories, and we're like, yeah, you might want to look back at some of the stories and think about some of that shit that we've been indoctrinated to.
all I'm saying is you are not wrong in any way, shape, or form. I'm not taking that away from you. I
Yeah,
am just going to say this: you you're wrong, and you really should start. No, I'm just kidding. No, I agree. But I like when I go upstairs and I want to do the Christmas thing, I'm not thinking about horror. I'm
that's
gonna
what I'm
watch.
saying.
Yeah. So I'm with you, but I do still think that as much as you can have the care, the love, all of the sweet things that come with Christmas, horror is still an element that is strong within it. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I get you. Like Sturdy is one of those people that literally will relate a horror to some type of situation and every. So it's like, hey, your birthday's coming up. You should go and check out Happy Death Day or something. You know what I mean? Like, or hey,
you know what it is?
Easter's coming. You might want to go check out Peter Rabbit, and it's a fucking slasher rabbit movie, or a guy that goes to children parties killing the parents or something.
Because, well, obviously one is my favorite. It's my favorite genre by far, but it's also like it's just the shit that, yes, I can say I grew up to it. It's the shit that, when I want to have a good time with some friends or whatever. That's mostly what we're going to. Horror. It's horror, comedy or horror, and I feel like with comedy, like horror, you get over the scares, but you still get the joy of everything else with the horror. Yeah. But with comedy, like once you're over the laughs, it's not worth watching anymore.
Like Scrooged here, right? Like Chad said, and like you said about A Christmas Carol, bro. Even watching that as a child, like the entire thing, I was never scared. Eerie feeling when death comes on, right? The black hooded figure. You still get that weird pit feeling in your chest and your stomach. Something's off. Like it's scary. This is the dude. This is the guy who takes you. You don't even really know for sure what death is or anything. But then, like, you think about that, how easy that whole shit could be turned into. But in my head, when it comes to Christmas Carol, guess what's fucking Muppets?
What I mean? But even it's That's funny fair. You say that. And I'm so glad you said that. Because when it comes into my head is the Mickey Christmas Carol.
Or the one with Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, well, more than Mickey Christmas Carol, but you're right. No, but seriously, like, and the Mickey Christmas Carol, when it's Pete, all it is Pete from fucking Goof Troop and shit, playing death, but it was still creepy as hell as a kid.
Yeah.
It's still, so I get what you're saying. Yeah, and it works in like that horror element. So thank you for taking a long way to say I was right.
This guy. Real quick though, since there's no wheel spin, I'm just gonna let you guys know what's coming up for the midnight show, which we don't have a wheel for that anyway, and what's coming up next week for Tuesday and Thursday, and possibly midnight show. We don't know yet. But so for tomorrow night, midnight, boom, ending off our Christmas, our holiday wheel, I should say, Christmas and Jewish wheel, holiday, whatever you want to call this wheel, all that fun stuff with this movie right here. And then we're going to hop into next week, and we're going to do some New Year's films. 2 of them. Boom. Steel Trap. Never seen it. That's why I want to watch it. And then this one I did for Mick, because I know how much he loves the first one. So I figured, you know what? We got to see the second one. I didn't even know there was a second one. Boom. Terror Train 2. Yes, it's part 2. It's over on Tubi. And we're going to have fun.
Oh, boy. Oh, I have to watch that?
Yep.
Yeah.
You're going to make me do that?
Yep, I am. And there may be, like I said, there may be one more episode after that before the new year. And then, that'll be if so, that'll be the last episode of the year. So hopefully these next few movies are pretty decent. So we can end the year good, start the year good, but we'll see. Yeah. We will see. Now,
when are you doing your countdown?
Oh shit!
Oh, we're supposed to do it that Friday.
That's earlier in the day though.
Gotcha.
That's normal. That's gonna be like around this time ish.
Gotcha.
I think, right? Something like that. Yeah, that'll be earlier. That's a different end of the year show. That's just like end of the year countdown, and then diving right into the end of the year again with some more movies to review. Another movie to review. Who knows? Maybe it'll make one of my lists.
Who knows?
Who knows? Which I gotta start working on that shit. Speaking of lists.
Yeah, me too.
I just realized I gotta go through Letterboxd and all that.
So 5, 6, not bad for this, I guess. It's a middle of the road movie.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not gonna say it's like a good movie. Like, oh, yo, this is an amazing fucking movie. You gotta go watch it. But it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie.
See, and I felt that way, like I said, up until the halfway mark, and then I was like, it's not changing. It's literally the same. It's it's just becoming. Oh, nope. Okay. So that's why I was like, yeah, whatever. I checked out. I still watched, and I literally told myself, you know what? I'm having fun with this up until about that half. point. Then I was like, okay, it's scared. Then okay, we picked up some pace. The kills started coming in a little more, and then it was like, okay, I'm just let down here. It's so weird. I don't know why. But again,
it happens.
Watch at your own risk.
It's true.
See, for him, he says, "Watch at your own risk." Me, I say, give it a watch. I think you'll have fun with it. I think you'll have fun with it.
I would watch this every year. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I really like the lead actor in it. She was very good. She wasn't
familiar.
the
Who
strongest.
The fuck was she?
I don't know her.
I got a question for you, man. This
it.
is. I mean, Chris, you can answer this as well, but you didn't care for the movie as much. And you actually, it won't even really matter because you said you wouldn't watch this every year. But for you, Mick, is this worth a Christmas Day watch? If you were to watch horror movies on Christmas, no. All right.
I don't even watch horror movies on Christmas Day. Like that. Closest I come to that is I'll watch Die Hard, and it's nothing against horror on Christmas Day. It's usually the family's in and out, and like you can't just leave horror playing.
No,
so like it doesn't really line up. Plus, that's like where Chris was talking about earlier. That's not where my heart is at the moment. Like throughout the month, throughout the season and such, I'll watch some horror and I'll enjoy it. But yeah, no, on usually Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Actually, no, I do watch a horror movie on Christmas Eve every year at 8 p.m. At 8 p.m. I watch. It's more of a horror drama. It's called It's a Wonderful Life. That's right. A man is going to commit suicide because he feels his life has fallen down, and he has to get picked back up again by the power of a supernatural entity. So we'll see what happens.
Bro, so that chick, the main actress, she was on 911 Lone Star, the Rob Lowe firefighter movie or whatever. And he's the chief in Texas.
There's like 90 things wrong there.
And she was supposed to be in the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, really?
But that's why she had looked so familiar to me.
No, yeah, I mean, I thought she did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't listen to him, Peter. Don't listen to him.
Don't listen to who?
You.
Oh no, yeah, no. Go and watch it. Trust me.
Why? Watch it your own risk. I mean, it's
Crinkle Cut Nuts gives it 2 thumbs up.
Crinkle Cut Nuts gives it 2 thumbs up.
Aren't we all?
No, I am. You're worst damn gamer ever.
Oh.
I'm the
Is that what you put? Oh, you're Crinkle Cut Nuts.
I'm Crinkle Cut Nuts, the horny unicorn.
Holy shit, the horny unicorn.
That's funny.
The horny unicorn, get it? He's got a horn?
Mm-hmm.
Too much.
All right. I'm a little high. I didn't realize if you got it or not.
I understand.
I'm used to talking to white people. They wouldn't have gotten it.
They don't.
You're stupid.
They would have been like, ew, you're thick.
Leave my unicorn alone.
For off camera. For off camera.
That's not what I meant by that. That's not what I meant by that. I was talking about what is it? The fantasy, the mythological beast, the mythological creature was what I was talking about. Chocolate unicorn.
The horny unicorn.
Like
Crinkle Cut Nuts, the horny unicorn.
Dude,
I'm writing us a play next year for your show. And it's going to be the adventure of Crinkle Cut Nuts who saves Christmas. And it's going to be, all of us are going to play a different part in it. And it's going to be the adventure of Crinkle Cut Nuts having to save Christmas. That's what's going to be. I'm going to write that's children's books. I see it. I see it everywhere. Children's books of Crinkle Cut Nuts. Crinkle Cut Nuts.
You know you'll still watch it, Peter.
He's gonna.
You'll still watch it to see what. Yeah, he will. He's gonna need to see who he agrees with. Sturdy, me, or you.
Well, me and Mick are pretty much in the same.
I'd like to hear that. We should have him back on the show. I want to hear what he says.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to have him back on.
Is Chris in bed? It looks like it.
No, this is my sofa. I just got a blanket on because my legs and my feet were cold.
Jesus fuck. So did you just like watch TV for the past few hours and you're like, oh shit, I got a show? I'll just go live here.
No, he's been
I
set up
got
in
back
there.
into that. Yeah, I've been set up in the living room for like a week now. It's fun. It's a good time.
Jesus.
No better place. It's a lot better. Giving my chair in my room a break. You know what I mean? Not letting the cushions go all flat
right.
and uncomfy.
I'm going to give you a piece of advice to get off that couch.
No, I'm good.
Just say, listen, sweetie, I'm sorry. I love you.
Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Would I do
This
that?
guy.
I don't even know if that was the actual play going on. I just thought it'd be funny to say. I'm buying you a new camera. It's not the camera. It's
It's
focus
not a
is
camera.
fine,
It's a
but he's
piece of
far
software
away.
that follows me and tracks me. Look. I don't know why
And
it's going that
that's
way.
why it's
I don't know why it's going that way.
Oh, he's
now.
talking about
It's going opposites.
because
he's
it
buying
doesn't,
himself. Oh, he's buying you a new camera. Why?
Why?
because he's out of focus.
He's out of focus.
I'm like, I'm not though.
You are. You're very soft.
All
In a
right, let's
beautiful
leave it
way.
at that.
In a beautiful way.
On a
You look like-
60-inch
you look
TV, it doesn't look blown up or pixelated until it becomes fucking 27 inches of my TV. So I'm good. It looks fine on my phone. It looks fine on a laptop or a tablet. My $60 wannabe GoPro camera that I've been using for almost 3 years as a webcam. Perfect.
Okay. Use it.
But I'll
Jason,
take a new
stop talking
camera if
about
you
camera.
want. I'll take a new camera if you want to give it to me for Christmas. It's fine. Just make sure it's either a Canon RP or a Sony A7 III or something like that or higher. I don't take anything under $1,500 as gifts.
You hear this?
Okay. That's Jason buying him the camera.
Yeah, I'm just letting them know. You know what I mean? I'm an expensive date. The
That's
only
what he's
other thing
asking
I would take is a PS5 and an Xbox Series X together over a camera gift. That's it. And you have to pay for the year subscription at least for the services.
I thought. I'm sorry.
It's cheaper than the camera. $1,000 value. It's cheaper that way. I'm easy to buy gifts for.
You're my favorite.
Just don't make me watch horrible movies, and I'm good. It's the best gift anybody can give me for the next year's coming.
I can't make any promises. As a matter of fact, I can make promises you are going to be watching some more bad shit next year. Whoa!
Get to licking my friend, nice.
Better apologize to your girl.
That was never the problem.
I don't even want to pull that shit up. Oh, God.
That's funny.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Jason, did you watch this movie while you're out there? And
yeah, I was going to
YouTube link?
say, did you watch it at all? Or James? Did you? What's up with James's rating?
I'm not sure. He's under.
Chadman, did you see this? What you end up giving this?
We only gave it a year since it came out. It does annoy me that it didn't do well. You know what I think? Fuck this movie. I think Winnie the Pooh
camera's better. What do you mean?
Come on, it's funny. Look at it.
Looks good to me.
I'm blinking.
Sturdy's like, I'm done.
I'm like blinking at that exact time.
I think the Winnie the Pooh movie fuck this one.
That's funny.
Why you say that?
Oh.
Because this came out before the Winnie the Pooh movie. But it didn't have as big of marketing. Like the Winnie the Pooh, remember, like as soon as that went it went what was it? Public domain, the story.
Yeah.
It was announced we're doing a horror movie version and it's coming out. And it was like in all the publications for horror and such. And I remember it was building up and they're like, oh, it's gonna be coming out like February of this year. And so like they kind of like, oh, and it kind of shadowed the mean one quite a bit. But I think the backlash of how could you do this with, you know, Winnie the Pooh and turn him into a killer, it like kind of bled out all over on this one, and that's why it didn't do as well. Because even like Winnie the Pooh didn't do as well as it could have.
Yeah, it was a fun fucking movie though, both of them. Winnie the Pooh I went and saw in theaters. This I would have saw in theaters, but you know.
Nah.
Yeah.
Go check it out though, Jason.
I did end up wanting to see this when I saw the preview for it a year or two ago. I definitely did remember wanting to see this, so that I was definitely excited to see it. So there's that.
Nice.
That could be where more of your disappointment is with it too. Like I wanted to see it, but I wasn't like super excited. I was just like, I'll just because I know it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be a certain way, so you know,
yeah,
don't expect too much out of it. So again, especially with a horror comedy like this, I'm like, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. And it was.
What was the other one that was good last year that came out the year before? Violent Night or
Violent Night was.
Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I was expecting. Saw David Howard Thornton was playing the Grinch, and I was sold. I get it, but so did you see it yet? David Allen Greer, I'm sorry, David Allen. David Howard Thornton, Billy Bob Thornton's uncle, is super dope.
Uncle? You know how old Billy Bob Thornton is?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I it's tough. It's tough because again, it's not like I went into it with this grand expectation of knowing what exactly to expect. I was just excited to see it. Like, all right, we're gonna get a crazy mean Grinch, and he's gonna go on a berserk killing spree. It just wasn't. I mean, the one thing that kind of it sucks because I liked it, but I also kind of hate how they used it. Was just the shit about him being upset at like little things like fucking decorations or the sound of Christmas bring him by. You know what I mean? Like it just magically calls him over. I kind of liked it, and either I'm torn on that one. Because it worked in some aspects of the movie, and it works.
Yeah, but I feel like that added to the element of, you know,
him hating Christmas.
You know, kind of adapting the old story. And he hated Christmas. He did look up from atop the mountain and heard them singing and the loud music, and he saw the lights and stuff. And it really that's what was like kind of driving him mad. And you take in, I guess, into account like whether he's so heartbroken that he hurt this little girl and because he accidentally killed her mother. Like, you know, you take the extreme character of, let's say, Santa Claus, and say that's what it is. And the extreme character of Santa Claus is he goes into people's homes and gives gifts. He loves kids so much. He wants to make sure they all have gifts, all the good ones. So when he finally breaks one's heart and it calls her he turns into a monster that hates the very thing that he was trying to you know, builds. The levels of it I really dug.
So that's where we're leaving it on pretty much then, right? He's just Santa Claus. When Santa does something bad by mistake, he turned into this evil entity.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, that's right.
Kind of what I felt like, because they didn't really show him at the beginning, and they show that other perspective of him talking to the little girl, but you don't see him being green or nothing. They kind of leave it up and don't really tell you for sure. Did he just look green the whole time? And was she not really scared of him at the beginning until he did the heinous act of murder? Or did he end up turning that way in that?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's all of those and none. You know, like it's that's the best part. That's why I like this. Like there was an interpretation to it. Like you have so much covered from the original story that they brought in with the adaptation of this, but it does add the, like, where does he come from though? But like, you know, where does the Grinch come from compared to the Who's? Why is he so
Yeah.
different? So I like that, you know, this kind of gives maybe the idea of maybe it is Santa. Maybe he was always a Grinch, but they used to love Christmas until this happened, you know? And he was
Yeah.
just in there helping or whatever. You know, you never know. Like
Mhm.
I kind of like that in the sense of like what Rare Exports did, you know, with Santa Claus and the Killer Santa idea. And how they kind of turned that into, they turned it on its head a bit. So like, you know, and anybody who hasn't seen that, go check out Rare Exports. Great movie. But yeah, so I kind of got that element from this. Like it was just a different take on the lore.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I want to see more stuff like this. Not only a sequel, or I'll say 2 sequels for this, but I want to see more of this type of stuff. Either whether it be the holiday horror ones that we grew up on, whether it be the Bambies and all that shit. I just think it's a fun take on it.
I kind of want I want it to be a fun slasher era for a little while. I feel like
Mm.
horror's been kind of going all over the place. The Halloween movies that just came out recently left such a bad taste in everybody's mouth. We haven't gotten any new Jason in a while. Chucky's a TV show. Who the fuck knows where Freddy's going to be? It would just be fun to get some fun original slashers. We got Terrifier. We have Thanksgiving. I think the Mean One matches in there. And there's others. And if we can keep creating the Bloody Summer Camp has their sequel just announced. So like,
Yes.
you know, like, so there's so many different movies that can be created and just a fun slasher element. Let's stop trying to go one direction with it. And I say we just get crazy and have some fun for a little while. Personally.
Do
That's
you think
fair.
this would have been a little bit easier to engage with had they kept the whole movie, it being in that world of the Grinch and Who's instead of it being humans? Do you
No,
think that makes a little bit more, make this feel a little bit more better suited together with itself? You know what I mean?
so I think that would be a cool version. You can't really. I understand
Like
why
if
they
they would have
would.
literally live action and made it into the horror with these elements, do you think it would have
Yeah,
been
that's what I
any
was
better?
picturing because you can't do Who's. That's why they couldn't say the Grinch in this movie. It's all Dr. Seuss owned and such, or whatever publisher owns that.
Mhm.
Um, you know, so all that stuff you couldn't really do. But to your, I like what you're saying. It would be a cool element. I think that would be more of a horror comedy though. I could see that, like, to be really vicious because these Who's getting killed. It's
Mhm.
almost like when you watch GTA and stuff, and when watching your friend GTA play GTA, and you're like, I don't care, all these people are dying. They're NPCs or like the Who's are essentially that's what they're going to be. You don't care they get robbed in the movie. You like the Grinch
Mhm.
Mm.
because
True.
they're not human. It's almost a weird disconnect that we have in movies and stuff like that we can do that. Like where we may have empathy for the characters we're meeting, but we may not have empathy for whatever species this is or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great question, but I just don't think it could be done in a hard element, like a really dark way, successfully. Personally,
You hit something on there that made me go, damn, that's true. It's because, like, take a situation like this, right? And we can have these cutesy ass people be the Who's and be all nice, lovey dovey. And it's almost like we do that a little bit in real life at times too. Sometimes that little green monster shows up in us, right? And we're just like, damn, must be nice, or oh, I wish I could have that type deal. You know what I mean? And it's like you get that little annoyed, like if it's something you really wanted, or you feel like things haven't been going your way, you're a little jaded by it, and like, so it's kind of like, do you think maybe like that's why in movies, especially, we're like, oh, look at these goody two
um,
shoe fuckers, they're about to get it type deal, and it's
Hmm.
it's like that's why we can't do these shows high anymore. And what pisses me off is I answer these questions and I'm like, holy shit, like that was a great answer. At least I think so. And I probably like that solidifies me being the scene snob, and I never do it on my show.
Have a good one, Chad. Appreciate you, man. We'll link
Night,
up soon. We'll link up soon. I'm
Good
actually
day.
gonna hit you.
Right.
I'm gonna hit you up if not tonight, definitely tomorrow about my the late night shows I started doing again. But if you're still here, have a good one.
I
Kind of where our love for horror comes from, anyways, because we don't ever really want to see any of this stuff. Those little bad parts of human ink, that's what the people are connecting with and identify, and they'll watch, and they're like, all right.
Yeah.
That could be something. That could be something right there. Like, obviously, you don't want to see anybody getting harmed. Well, I don't. I'll speak for myself. I'm assuming you guys don't either. I'll speak for the horror community. You don't want to see people getting hurt in real life, none of that. But in the movie, it's like it's just the movie 1 and 2. For me, it's the art of it. I'm like, how the fuck do they do all this? Like with the slashers and all that, especially now, like I said, now that I'm older, and when you get the Blu-rays, the DVDs, or even watching on YouTube and shit, sometimes the behind the scenes shit, and you see what goes into making something for them to just destroy it, that's what really fucking fascinates me. The practical effects and all that. I'm like, yo, you mean to tell me you spent 6 months building that just to blow it up? I mean, like, it was an amazing fucking scene, or just to chop it up, but holy shit. Like, I'd be mad and happy at the same, like, oh fuck, man, like, I'm so happy, I feel accomplished, I got this done, that scene looked great, but that shit's gone now.
I can't believe we had such a fucking poignant conversation about the horror genre in Christmas for the mean one.
Hey, listen, it's a Christmas horror movie. It ties
No,
in.
I know, but it's just like, it's the weirdest movies on Sir Sturdy where we watch,
and we get the deepest conversations.
It's like these deep conversations that, like, even now, like, I want to fucking rant against, like, how this has a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, but the audience score is 50%. That feels right for this movie. I'm not saying this movie should be above 50%, but 20% feels like shit, and that's why I fucking hate Rotten Tomatoes and their bullshit movie critics. They don't fucking know anything. They don't know what people want. They don't know what fans want, and then they just put their drivel and their bullshit out there. They push movies that they clearly are getting paid to fucking do, or at least paid in, hey, come to our fucking gala and whatever. And then you have the audience score saying this, and they never match up. It's a problem if the audience, and that's like 100,000 people, or even if it's just like 10,000 people for a movie, are, putting that up, and then you have like 60 at most, 80, 100 critics reviewing. Even if it's 100, how does that fucking even out? But people are, but every publication is like, the Rotten Tomato score is this, the Rotten Tomato score is that. No, it's not, because that's not the real score. Tell the audience score. The audience score is much different.
Not only that, exactly that. And I was gonna say, not only that, but you would think you'd be listening to people that are going and paying their hard-earned money to go see these movies, possibly multiple fucking times, and then giving their opinions on them, versus, oh yeah, I need you guys to go watch this movie. Yeah, here's snacks, here's everything you guys need to be comfortable. Now go watch this movie.
For the longest time, I didn't realize that Rotten Tomatoes had like their own team and like editors or like fucking critics or whatnot. Honestly, I thought Rotten Tomatoes was like, yo, the people that pre-screen, the people that see it, like all of the actual consumers go on there, and that's how they get their scores. Honestly, I didn't realize that it was like until obviously like a year or two ago, and I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. I mean, it's just like anything else, right? Every industry has some type of a outlet of review that they can kind of control and manipulate the narrative and things like that, right? Video games always had the magazines like Game Informer, Game Pro. Now we have this game get an 8, a 9, or 10, and then we're getting a release day and the thing's barely playable, and the fucking thing, like, you gotta wait 6 months for them to patch it all, and then when they finally do patch, wasted 6 months of your life wanting to play the game and you can't play it, but yet something that we all got it in a release or before release, you gave the thing a fucking damn near perfect score, yet none of us could really play it at the beginning. Like, shit like that happens all the time, and it's just based on who's paying for what. You know what I mean? Hey, I got a game coming out. Review this. Here's a check. You know what I mean? Hey, there's movies coming out. Review this. Here's review. my product. Here's a check. Like, that's just the game, period. Unless you're like us, where we're just like, we're just going to with you as we can.
Yeah.
I'll still take a check, but I'm not going to lie to you.
Exactly.
Here's a check. What'd you think about my movie? It sucked.
You want to invite me to your fucking shit and you want to do this, that, and the other thing? Fine. They're never going to because I don't look like the young, pretty people on TikTok. But I know more about fucking movies than most of them because I listen to a lot of their fucking things. And it's just like, what? You missed the fucking point. Like, you missed the fucking point because you didn't look deep enough.
You know what I've noticed with those type of things is it's more so of not even if they know what's going on in the movie or whatever the discussion is, it's more so of not trying to get the conversation going like how we are now. It's more so of trying to go viral. So it's like, okay, what did everybody else say? What's the hot points? What's the hot words that everybody's saying around this movie and around this topic? Okay, they hated it because it was told like this and blah 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 and blah blah blah. That's why they hate it. And it's very similar to a lot of other ones that have a lot of views. And then even with the ones that are, and I'm not talking about the people that actually go deep dive and really talk about it short or long form. I'm talking about the ones that kind of use the viral terms and the viral everythings that they know what they're doing with the viral shits. But that's all they know is that which I guess it's great that they know how to go viral, but it's like, that's it.
Yeah, we're like dudes like us. We're not trying to be superficial. We're not just trying to read a fucking headline, the skim level of what these movies are that we're experiencing or whatnot. Like we're really watching these. We're paying attention to different things that register with us. We're notating and mental noting so that we can present to you exactly what we're either feeling at that time or thinking as we're going through the process to give you as good of an opinion or scope of an understanding of whether or not, if you connect with me or my thought process for my ratings, then you know, okay, well, he said, then boom, yeah, this movie so much. You can still take my opinion and go watch it and then be like, you know what? Yeah, he was right, or nah, he was way off. That's fine. Be my guest. But when it comes down to, again, these things being curated, like it just ruins it for everybody. I understand everybody puts their heart, their money, their into these projects and they want it to succeed. But to me, that's not enough of a reason to then, pay for certain things.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not,
because your work will always speak for itself. We've talked about. What's up?
No, I was just going to say, sort of adding to that point, like back in the day, we used to trust movie critics so much because we weren't able to get to the theater all the time to go watch everything. It was more of an event. So we want to know what people like. And we trusted these people as like movie fans. And it grew into this thing where it really wasn't because they were just spewing the same shit. They had biases, the whole nine. And there were so few of them and they all had the same biases because they're all white dudes. Old ass white dudes who just fucking, it's not classics, whatever. So that's why today I maintain that movie critics are the ones that should be critiquing, should be experts in the field of filmmaking and movie watching to be able to critique it. Now anybody can make a critique, that's fine, but like that, the ones that stand above should be the ones doing that. It never happens. Now the movie reviewers, if anything, and that's who I call all of us who are down here on YouTube just trying to make it work and we love movies and talking about it.
Guilty.
Those are the ones that are keeping it honest, in my opinion. Not always. There's a lot of bullshit, but like at least they're keeping it honest because there's so many. We will talk honestly about our movies. Yeah. For the most part.
Yeah. That's fair to say. And I mean, I'll go back again with the critics, like with us reviewers, and I'll say more so with the reviewers, the podcasters, the bloggers, all that stuff. We have our face on, we put our name on it.
Yep.
You critics, it's just critics, Rotten Tomatoes. No, put a name on it. If you really care about it, put a name on the bullet.
Yeah, a lot of us start this because hey, we like topics. Like if there's a group of people or a topic that you can talk on and on about, we usually start something source for you. But I mean, for us back in the day, we got tired of hearing these fucking reviews and then watching shit and being like, oh, we loved it when they bombed it. Or the opposite, right? They bombed it and we love, or, they fucking say it's great. And then we're like, what the fuck is this? At some point, you got to realize and understand that the games are rigged, right? Again, any industry is going to some type of a faction so that it can control. I mean, the food industry's done it with FDA. There's so many different entities out there with the rating boards and video games and music, literally because they didn't want to tell them what to do. So they said, all right, we'll create a system to regulate ourselves. But it's still owned by all the record labels. So it's like you're it's still being distributed, it's still being reviewed and discussed in the same light based on what they want it to be anyway. Same shit. It's just who do you put in place in your pocket to get your narrative crazy?
Basically.
You're wrong.
With all that said, people, listen. I'm gonna show you guys one more time in a minute what's coming up. But I will say this, people, go check out the Mean One. If you've not seen it, go check it out. It's worth at least a one-time watch. I think it's worth a once-a-year watch, but that's me. Again, Midnight Manana, the Sacrifice Game. Oh, Mick, you want to send me that? What you call it, real quick, and I'll pull it up, or share the screen for.
I don't have it right now. Well, I will definitely. I might have the link. Hold on.
Steel Trap next week. I cannot wait for this. I don't know why. And Terror Train 2. Yes, it's going to be part 2 on Tubi. I might grab the wrong poster, but yes. And Mick is so fucking excited to watch that movie.
I am not excited to watch that fucking movie.
See, he can't wait.
I can wait.
He's looking forward to next Thursday.
Oh, tomorrow night.
Cast for a Cause.
Cast for a Cause, yeah. Guys, Cast for a Cause, we're doing a charity event. If you guys don't know what that is, we're collecting for All for Lunch, which is a great organization trying to end school lunch debt in schools all over the country, and is an important thing to us and helping kids out. So if you guys would be up for donating, please go check us out. You can go to thecinesnobs.com, our LINKTREE. Sir Sturdy has it out. It's all over our social media. Message us. We'll send it to you. But make sure you watch tomorrow, because tomorrow is the live charity event that goes with it. It's a charity script reading of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. A bunch of us are going to be jumping in. It's going to be a really fun time. Starts at 7 p.m. We're going to do a pre-show at 6, but 7 p.m. is when that starts. So jump in over here, the Scene Snobs, Worst Damn Gamers channel. We're going to be all over.
Yeah, jump in for that, people. It'll be a great time, some fun stuff, and most importantly, let's raise some money for these children, because they shouldn't have to pay for school lunches at all. That's bullshit. No matter how rich or how poor their parents are, kids should be eating free.
100%.
Fucking game. America, do better. Biden, do better. All you motherfuckers, do better.
Everyone.
Sound like you care. And I'm gonna end it on that. Click the links and all that good shit. Happy holidays to everybody that celebrates holidays. If you don't, happy days.
Let's put it like this. Just give us a quarter to 0.5% of your war budget so that we can end hunger in children.
Yeah.
End hunger in children first. War budget.
There you go.
There it is. He's right.
But I'll see you in your nightmares, people. Peace.
Later, guys.